Hiya, it's Luke here from Yamaha. I'm here down at GAK in Brighton with the new CPs. So this is the CP88 and over here we've got the 73. They're exactly the same actually, except for the keys. This one being an 88 note graded action, so it feels like a grand piano, slightly lighter at the top and real wooden keys. And the 73 being slightly shorter, an electric piano type feel, still weighted, but evenly across the whole thing, balanced action, and you can still play very emotional piano on it and stuff. But they're the main. That's the only two differences actually. And what these are is they're geared towards the piano and the electric piano player. So everything as well is almost like a one-to-one interface, so that you can put your hands on the sounds and affect them as you play. Quite a simple thing going on. What we have is 3 sections, and you have your pianos, your electric pianos, and then another category called sub, which has just lots of useful things that might help you in your performance. If I just talk you through them, first of all, you've got the grand pianos over here, first of all. And what we've got is, so that's the CFX, which is a Yamaha grand piano, 9 foot long, big, beautiful thing. It's designed to play along with orchestras, so it can be very emotive. And then when you do hit it, it's designed to cut through. So they've got this all sampled from that. It's got seamless changing on this instrument. So here I'm on the CFX, and we want to change to the next piano, which is a Bösendorfer. So you can hear the two differences. It's like slightly woodier, slightly. It's actually a 9.5 foot, £150,000 grand piano. You can hear lots of overtones and very rich, big sounds. So here's the difference between the two. CFX and the Bösendorfer. Actually, what Yamaha have done with this one as well is they've put in what was a very popular sound on the S90 ES from some years ago. I think it's called the Natural S on that piano. And this one is still a grand piano, but it's a much thinner sound, far less of the overtones, and it means you can fit it in amongst the band and amongst in a mix a lot easier. So if you hear the difference between these, this is back to the Bösendorfer and onto the S700. So that's great that they've been listening to what people have been asking for on that one. Next we can move on to the uprights. This is actually my favourite sound on the instrument. It's a U1, another Yamaha acoustic piano. I think it's one of the best selling pianos in the world actually. And this one has been, it's like they've got the piano, they've moved it somewhere, and it's been left there for a little while, and so it feels like it's just a nice oldish upright, got a bit of character, and so it's actually slightly out of tune. So if you can hear. I do love that piano. And then there's another SU7, which again, another Yamaha upright piano. This one is their top of the range, built on the same sort of master sort of craftsmanship of the CFX. And it's, and as you're playing actually, you can add reverbs pretty easy, so. a very fast action on this. And as we're moving on, so each of these sections you've got your insert effects which you can add in, so things like compression, distortion, drive, chorus, and each of the sections had their own ones that might work for that instrument. So for example on this one we can add some compression and you can have this sort of, take some of that reverb off. That sort of slightly cheap, more poppy sort of sound. And then moving on, we go to the CP, which is what this is actually named after. The CP standing for combo piano. In the 70s, Yamaha had a CP80, which Genesis, Phil Collins, Keen used a lot of. It's like a stringed instrument, but slightly more portable. It's quite a distinctive sound. I'll show you. And this is one that will lend itself to adding more effects. So you have with that I can start bringing in, say, some chorus, and this is when you really can get into this instrument and make it your own. So for and this could take sort of distortion if you wanted. Some quite cool effects picking things out. Then we've got layered strings and stuff in that as well. But I'll move on to the electro pianos. And what they've named these is RD, WR, clav, and DX for DX7. So you can probably guess what the RD and WR are. They're your timed instruments and your reed instruments. And so from here, we can get some sounds like them. And these sounds always lend themselves well to things like tremolos and pans and choruses. So if I bring in a tremolo, which is often standard on a lot of these instruments, you've got there. I can change down the rate or the depth. I can add chorus effects. So. And again, a big one with this is adding things like drive. So like you're going through a proper guitar amp, and you can add delays. So let's get something going here. So actually that's a sort of a tape delay. I'll get into some of those later. Some amazing effects you can do. There's analog and digital type delays. And then we can move on. Well, there's actually a ton of RD sounds, each one being slightly different. So we've got like... This one's a slightly softer, like a felt hammered one. Moving on to the reed instruments. This is like the super tramp type sound. Clavs. things like this, you can add touch wire, for example. Or you can put that on a pedal, so you can get some quite cool effects. DX7s, which is Yamaha's 80s little keyboard that kind of like changed everyone's views on what was going on, and so much music as people were on these huge analog synths, and then this little thing came out that you could suddenly save all your sounds and create stuff. And you'll recognize that these will be, it's quite 80s, quite. And again, chorus is big on this, so you can dial this in as I play. Yeah, pretty classic, pretty legendary. And then over here we have the subcategory, just tons of useful things, from pads to strings to guitars to chromatic instruments like glocks and marimbas. And these give you more insert effects, so you can change things like the attack and the release. So here's some strings. Change the attack. And then we've got sounds like glockenspiels. That sort of thing going on. Just tons of, and what Yamaha are going to do with this as well is the first keyboard that they're going to upgrade the OS as the sort of like you've already bought it. After that, they're going to change things. So since I had this for like 4 days, a new CP OS came out and new sounds appeared in it. You can get some new presets as well, which someone had created. You can also link it up to Soundmondo, if you've heard of that so far, where you can store your sounds on the cloud. You can share your sounds, you can get other people's sounds. You can turn up anywhere in the world where there's a CP and get your sounds off the web, off the cloud, which is pretty amazing. Obviously, you can save it as USB as well if you need. And so I've talked you through the 3 sections here. An important thing to notice is that you're not limited to this. If you wanted to put any sound down any of these, so if you wanted to put 3 pianos down it, you can as well. Or if you want to put electric piano through a rotary style effect, you can put it down here if you want. If you want to get in and dirty. But obviously the thing about this as well is the blending. So it's very easy to play your piano sound. And then if I want to bring in some electric piano. So it's pretty cool for that thing. Or say, for example, I want to bring in some pads, but just on the left hand, just to bolster my Or I can switch that around, for example, with my split points and say, I want the pad just to be up here. It's quite neat and quite handy. So yeah, so one of the really cool things about the Master Effects is that you can send the individual sections to these in different amounts. So for example, if I wanted to put tons of reverb on the pianos but nothing on the pads, I could do that. Or if I wanted to put just delays on the electric pianos, but not on the pianos, I could do that. So for example, I could do, there's my piano, and then I could dial in the electric piano with delays. And it's just the electric pianos that delayed. And I can change the feedback as I play. And that's the analog sort of tape style, which you can muck around with and do there. Like it was actually going through tape. With the digital one, you could do some cool effects as well, where you can almost set up like a loop, for example. So I could be you could probably do better than that, but that's an example. Other things on this, the split point can go anywhere you want. So you just say, I want a split point there on E flat, and then your split point, so for example here, I got my, so that's pretty cool. It's also got a sound card in it, so if you're someone who uses MainStage like me, you can put your laptop there, one USB stick, or you have one USB lead in, and you've got access to all your MainStage. You can turn this into a master keyboard, so you can have 4 different zones going different MIDI channels out over different zones. So I could say, I just want that one note to go MIDI channel 10 to MainStage, and you can have it. It's massively programmable on pedals. What sounds are affected by what controllers. So for example, on this again, if I go back to my sound that had the delays on the electric pianos, split. So for example here, the pitch bend will work on that, but it won't work on this. So therefore you can do things like quite cool effects. Yep, so the sound card, then you can go straight into your DAW as well if you've got Logic or Cubase, and you can record your MIDI straight in. You can record your audio straight in. The great thing about that as well is it all channels back down the master volume. So if you've got a nice sort of levels going on between your piano and MainStage or Logic, it's all controllable by here. It's got XLR outs, it's got jack outs, it's got another set of jack ins if you want to put another keyboard through your, it's almost like a little mixing desk then. And I mentioned before, you can do things like having split pianos, so we can have pianos across the whole thing. So, got a split. So for example, now I've got that sort of thing with octave pianos. So quite cool. As you can hear, those reverbs can be massive as well and very beautiful. Let me show you. So let's get the Bösendorfer up. If you're doing like cinematic type stuff. Yeah, and that's pretty much it. What it is, it's an instrument for the piano player, the electric piano player, someone who wants to create on the fly, someone who loves the organic sounds but also wants to add the insert effects. It's pretty portable as well. You can get your arm around it, unlike some of the bigger ones. The 73 is actually can fit across the back seats of a car quite easily. In fact, this one does as well, because you've moved the wheels up there. Yeah, just a fantastically, almost organic instrument. I've loved it since I've had it, and I hope you do too. So come down here to GAK, check them out, have a play yourself, and yeah, hopefully you'll enjoy it as well.